No, but the slides crashed right before, so he didn't eat my homework though. A lot's happened since the last time I had the privilege of speaking to you and everything. And I'm going to share a little bit this morning what, the Lord just changed the whole message on the way over here. So I'm just going to share with you what the Lord's laid on my heart this morning. And I'm going to share a story with you. Some of you were there and know what happened 2 years ago. It was a life-changing event. And it was 5:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Just finished typing my Sunday school lesson. The Sunday school lesson that morning, the title was, When Sorrows Come. I get a call from my daughter. And you know how you can hear horror in your children's voice. All of a sudden, I hear just almost a crying whisper. Daddy, I need your strength. And I'm like, what? She said, Daddy, I need your strength. And I said, what's the matter? She said, Amelia's gone. And I said, what do you mean Amelia's gone? My son-in-law and my granddaughter were fishing together, daddy and daughter time. And something happened as they were almost back to the shore to come home. And when he fell out of the boat, it broke the throttle when he was trying to grab and keep from rolling over and threw the boat into high speed. All of a sudden, the boat went into the DNR estimated it was spinning at about 60 miles an hour with centrifugal force. She only weighed 70 pounds. And so I woke my wife up, we called our son, and we gathered people together because there was a search party there. I get there, and it's like a scene out of a movie. It's like you're telling everybody, you see it, it's not real at first. So I get there, and there's police, there's DNR, there's every county, because when a child's missing, you'll be amazed how people come out of the woodwork to search. And the banks were covered, but they would not allow us to be part of the search party. So the captain for the DNR came up to me, and my daughter said, Daddy's in charge. Whatever needs to be done, whatever communication needs to be done, whatever decisions need to be done, my daddy's in charge. So from that minute on, even some of the firemen started calling me Pop. We had, and I wish I could remember all their names, but right now, forgive me. But we had a group of guys that became our bodyguards for the week, so that the media stayed away from us. And we had firemen, policemen that volunteered. They blocked the road so that we weren't bombarded with media. But we spent that whole Sunday watching as cadaver dogs, divers, searchers, helicopters, hour on end, on through the night. We spent the next 39 hours staring at Lake Jackson. Normally a very peaceful place to be at Turtle Cove. Some of you may have remembered seeing it on TV. Well, during that 39 hours, they heard us more than once gather around all vehicles and create a circle around that thing. We prayed so loud that every searcher on the water could hear that they were being prayed for. Because see, after the first 4 hours, the captain of the DNR came to me and he said, this is no longer a rescue mission, it's a recovery mission. So, that, needless to say, everybody's heart broke. But everybody kept looking to me to be that pillar. I'll tell you right now, let me preface this. I'm nobody special. I'm no different than the lost sinner laying on the park bench. I'm saved by grace just like that. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, for his strength, and for his mercy, I couldn't stand here and share with you this morning. Once it became a recovery mission. The DNR captain came to me and he said, and I dealt the GBI and every one of the ABCs that went along with it. And they came to me and they said, once we get ready and we locate the body, we're going to ask you to take the family so they cannot see the recovery. And then I'll have you to come back when we make the announcement. Well, we spent, and needless to say, we didn't sleep. And I want to, we've thanked Turtle Cove community. People opened up their homes. They were making coffee throughout the night. They allowed rescuers to come in and use their facilities. They even brought in porta-johns and set up tents for us on the bank. And church after church donated food. We had more food than, could feed an army. And then Monday night, we were going home to shower and change. We had different family members to stay continuously. And my daughter asked me, she said, "Daddy, I want you to preach the funeral." This is my granddaughter, 9 years old. She said, "The only person that can do her justice is somebody who knew her and loves her." And so I was actually sitting down trying to gather my thoughts for that. We had just gotten home, my wife had just gotten undressed. I was sitting at my desk, and the DNR called. He said, "We found her." He said, "I want you to get here 30 minutes before you call your daughter and have the rest of the family follow you so that I can prepare you for what's going to happen." So we get there, and I'll tell you, we watched firemen, military, everybody on the search party weeping because they all thought of their own children and their grandchildren. And they told us that's the hardest recovery to do as a child. So they get there, and after my daughter arrives, everybody's gathered around because they knew the announcement was fixing to be made. And he named her, and he said the body had been recovered. My daughter had brought a bouquet of pink balloons released at the announcement. She released those balloons, and as any mother who's lost a child, she began to cry and wail for just a few moments. And in weakness, she kind of bowed down, but then she amazed the crowd. She stood up singing Amazing Grace. And she started singing Amazing Grace, and the whole base began to sing Amazing Grace. I saw captains, colonels, lieutenants crying. The GBI chaplain came to me and said, "I came here to help y'all, but y'all are helping us." And so that week I was in charge of dealing with the coroner. I'll tell you, I was hoping to one day help pick out my granddaughter's car, not her casket. That was one of the hardest things, is to go into that coffin room and pick out a child's casket. But let me back up just a little bit. Imagine my son-in-law. He almost lost his life during that too. Because imagine, it's a January morning, how chilly the water is out there. He barely made it to shore. Somebody saw him because somebody accidentally left their dock lights on that night. And they called 911. They said from the time that the 911 calling, those of you know Lake Jackson, it's not that easy to get into. The first rescue crew was there in 7 minutes. And they had to pump water from his lungs. But you talk about PTSD, those of you that have been in the military. Imagine in the dark hearing your daughter say, "Daddy saved me." You can't find her. So he lives with that every day. and I pray for him every day. I pray for my daughter. Sometimes she calls at night, crying, "Daddy, the house is too quiet." What do you say? It's hard to comprehend. You know, of all messages, you know, I was thinking, you know, and afterwards I was like, man, I messed up my granddaughter's funeral. Because I preached out of Job. You know, and I'm thinking, you know, but I'll tell you, I've always been impressed with Job. And one of the things that I actually noticed about Job was that first thing, he got God's attention because of his fall. When Satan confronted God, he said, "Have you considered my servant Job?" And then, you know, the devil, as always, threw an accusation, said, "Look, the only reason he worships you and praises you is because you give him everything." And so he said, "Okay, you can take everything but his life. His life belongs to him." And he lost everything. But what I admire about Job, he fell down and worshiped. He fell down and worshiped. I want to ask you this morning, when tragedy comes, how will you respond? When tragedy comes, can your family count on you? And trust me, again, I'm nobody strong. People said, "How did you preach your granddaughter's funeral?" I've had the opportunity time after time. The Lord used that. You know, we have what we call divine opportunities to share His goodness. And Tuesday night, on Monday night, they announced her body being found. On Tuesday night, a prayer vigil was held. I didn't know if anybody had planned anything, so my wife and I went out and got speakers because my daughter wanted certain music played that was gospel songs that my granddaughter loved. So we bought a karaoke machine and put it on the dock that night. They estimated over 1,200 people showed up to line those banks. I invited friends to speak. And I had the privilege of sharing the gospel to 1,200 people. Guess what? And if it hadn't been for the loss of my granddaughter, those 1,200 people would not have had the privilege. And you say, you know, that's a hard way to share the gospel. I'll tell you, if I could have done it any other way, I would have. But His ways are above my ways. They're above understanding. The man who led me to the Lord was my uncle. I watched a strong man die from cancer, become a weak one before he passed. But even when his body was weak, his spirit was strong. And so that week went on, and then it came time for the funeral. I'll tell you, I could not even begin to imagine what I was about to face. He said, "How did you stand?" My wife could tell you, as I went home, and I would cry all night because I wasn't on your pawpaw why anymore. Or pawpaw, can we do this anymore? I could hear her voice as I stood. My daughter asked me to put video together for the funeral. And as I look back on those memories, I remember holding her when she was born. But then it came time for the funeral. They had to take out even all the decorations in the sanctuary at the funeral home, and it was at one of the larger funeral homes in McDonough. People were lined down the hall. They actually had to pipe it into another chapel. What's the term? The procession, when we left, they shut down 2 miles of the I-75 highway. And we had state patrol, police, and everybody standing in attention as we drove by. Just seeing how God worked that week. And enough money came in, my daughter and them didn't have insurance for my granddaughter, because they never expected something like this to happen. Enough money came in to pay for the funeral completely. They didn't have to pay a dime. Since then, I have had the privilege of talking to thousands upon thousands to share what God did that week and say, why would you share it? Because people want to know, how did y'all make it through that week? It was not by my strength, it's by His strength.
Right.
I'm going to tell you guys, I could not have made it. Can I tell you that even now, I see little kids playing, I have to look over because I cry because I miss them. And I'll tell you, my daughter, and I have always been close. If you have little girls and you don't have a daddy and daughter journal, you're missing out. We kept it as she grew up. And I took her on daddy and daughter dates. I wanted her to know how to be respected. I wanted her to know what to expect. I wanted to be, an example for her. And so God used her as a teacher in my life. Because I'll tell you, before she was born, I saw God as like Thor. If I messed up, if I sinned, I was going to get burned to a crisp. I'll be honest with you, that's my perception, is I saw Him more from a judgmental side. When she was born, I saw the love and mercy through her in a way I never saw before. Because when I had to discipline her, it broke my heart. And when she was sick, I could care for her. And God said, that's how I love you. That's what I've been trying to show you. Is it's not just my authority, but I want you to see I love you. She taught me so much about prayer when her and her husband got married. Their truck broke down one week, and we gave them some money. We didn't have that much to help them out with. And she called me. It was a super busy day at work. And I said, honey, what's the matter? She said, the truck died before we got into the garage. And I said, honey, I don't have any more money. And it's a really busy day. What can I do? And she said, Daddy, just pray for me. Can I just hear you pray? That humbled me. I closed my office door and said just a simple prayer. And she said, the minute I said amen, the truck cranked. And it died in the driveway of the garage where it was to be repaired. Do you think God didn't humble me that day? He used her in my life in a way that I never imagined to teach me lessons of love, of humility. Because us guys are prideful, I can conquer him. But He used her in such a way and continues to use her in such a way. And I'm going to ask y'all to pray for Mandy, Charlie, and little Charlie, because imagine her little brother and her, well, he's her big brother. Those two, you would not find them separated. But God gave me 5 character traits that, not for me, but for us as men, as fathers. We have TV in 4K. Well, fatherhood should be 4. I say 5 people. Used to, I said 3, but the more this week showed me, there's more to it. And I want you to remember these words. First of all, we are to be the priest of the family. Because if you read Job chapter 1, it says that he prayed for his children every morning in case they sinned, and we're not even aware of it. As he covered his children in prayer. And if you read in verse 1, he lived a godly example that they saw Christ in him. We may come to church on Sunday and we're Mr. Holy as Thou. But your kids see the real you when you kick the dog and yell. They see the real you. Do they ever see you praying? Do they see you reading your Bible? Do they see you loving your wife as an example? Second, Men need to be a protector. Ephesians 5:25 talks about that the husbands are to love the wives. Love comes natural for women, but it doesn't for men. It's a choice we make. Because in reality, men are more lovers of themselves. We want to gratify ourselves with fast cars and adventure. It's a choice. Third, we're to be providers. You know, we wouldn't even have such a deprivation of our society if men just stood up and did what they were supposed to. We have women filling men's positions because men won't take the reins like they're supposed to. The fourth one is a hard one for some people to accept, and that's parliamentarian. I'm telling you, some people, Johnny, don't do that. I'm sorry, my Bible says spare the rod, spoil the child. And I don't, trust me, I was a youth counselor, I was a camp counselor, I do not believe in abuse. But my Bible also says in Hebrews 12 that we chasten those that we love. And it also gives you an example of how God chastens us. And discipline is give instruction, hold accountable, and then love them and remind them. So an example is I didn't have to corporally discipline my daughter very much after a certain age because we began when she was little. And so after a while she knew by Dad's voice that, hey, I'm pushing the boundary here. Or that look. You know, moms have their look, but dads have theirs. Because used to the whole youth group straightened up if I looked across a pew, they're like, he's looking, you know, so they'd all sit up and quit talking. But I'm talking about when you discipline them, embrace them, and remind them. Hebrews 12 tells me that it's a mark of sonship. You know, I'm not going to discipline any of your kids. That's your responsibility. But I am going to discipline my own. But you know, it's the first way to begin to give them the gospel. Because if they don't associate sin with pain, they'll never appreciate really what Christ did for them. They will see that it's not really a value. And then lastly, do they see perseverance in you? Do they see you standing strong when troubles come? You know, we even talked about it in here, we've read excerpts from Stand Firm. But do they see you standing firm when challenges come? I want to challenge you to read Job. You know, when I preached that message, I felt I had failed my daughter. I felt I had failed everybody that day. I had people come up and said, you answered some questions I've been struggling. Some people rededicated their lives, and I don't know what all decisions were made. I still keep hearing it. See, I wanted to preach, you know, one of those flowery messages. God just wouldn't let me that day. If we will just do what he tells us to do, he will honor it. And sometimes it may, this morning I had some pretty slides I wanted to put up for you with scripture on it. They all crashed. That's not what he wanted you to see today. So I've learned, just step aside and let him have control. Thank you.
Amen.
Wally, I'm glad you didn't have your slides, because quite frankly, all eyes needed to be on you and the words you were saying. You remember when Jesus was on the cross, he told even the thief that was beside him, he said, this day, not next week or when you awaken 1,000 years from now, this day we would be in heaven. And so I got to wonder, how much more of a celebration is it when his own children come home? In fact, this morning when I got up before I came here, I always check my scripture reading for the day, and it said from Colossians 3, it said, think about the things of heaven and not the things of earth. See, because I've got a son who's in heaven. And I got that phone call at 11 o'clock one night that he'd had a car wreck and we need to make our way to the hospital. He didn't survive. And there's men in this room who have a strong influence on him making a decision in his life to accept Christ. I've seen Willie give that look to a bunch of youth before too, and they straightened up pretty quick. I saw your smile. You knew what you were talking about when you said that. But I've got a son today who turns 21 who's tried to fill his older brother's shoes, and he sure looks an awful lot like him, but it's not his job to do that. His older brother's job was to be who he was, to accept Christ, and for whatever God's reason, to go home early, to make an influence on an awful lot of kids, because we had a church full. And some of you were at that service, and I can't even count. It was just full. Youth, everywhere. Some of them were emotional, some of them were absolutely real, because I've seen them since then, and their life is completely different today because of a decision they made even then. And we don't understand that. It's hurtful. And you're right. You look around wanting to just see a glimpse of them go by. But when we think about the things of heaven, we think about those people, we think about our eternity with them. And the remainder of the verse and the story that goes along with it is, heaven is such a long eternity. One of you try to write a definition of what eternity is. See how long that takes you. But that's what we have forever with Jesus to hang out with. This is such a small little bit of time. We get so upset about things that happen here. We don't understand his ways. We never will. But I promise you, every one of you will get to heaven one day and have your answers given to you when you see the impacts that what we feel like sometimes are injustices or difficulties have made. Even with Job. I used to read Job and go, well, that was a poor game for the two of them to play on using him as a pawn. But we talk about it today as a result of that, the impact it made. So, was it too much to give up so that it could impact an unknown number of people throughout history who have an eternity now? No. But it is difficult at the moment. If we keep our eyes focused on heaven, let's spend a little time at our table time. I know this seems like a kid's conversation, but it's really not. It's an adult conversation. What are the things that you contemplate about heaven when you do? Maybe this is just a moment we needed to have today to contemplate about heaven. So let's spend some time doing that. Thank you.